From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Well, hot dog! Whoa, 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 whoa. You found us, people, and it's great to have you here. This is the Badass Counseling Show podcast. And my name is Sven Erlandson. I am the host of this show. And it's great to have you here, whether you are tuning in from Austria, Australia, or Antwerp. Pulled that one out of my ass. It's
What'd
great
you call me?
Exactly. It's great to have you with us no matter where you are. We have listeners around the world just like you, and you are what makes this show tick. And we are always joined by listeners in our lightning rounds. And we have listeners who write into the show. You can write in production at badasscounseling.com if you want to talk with me and so forth. And so our show depends on you. We do not pay anyone to be on this show. We do not create fictional anything. These are real people with real issues. And we're making 2 shows every week. And the people that make it happen are joining me here in studio, KC over in the booth. Often silent, occasionally talking. Today she is silent. And I've got Rob the Rocket next to me, the person that makes the machine run. Rob, what say ye?
Hot diggity dog, ziggity boom, Sven, what you do to me.
What's that from?
Perry Como, 1956.
Really? That's an actual song lyrics.
It actually is, yeah. You think I could have thought of that myself?
I don't
I'm not
know.
that clever.
Well, you know what? You know what's interesting? There is a song, and I'll pull it up for you on Spotify if you don't know it. Some artist back in the 70s, I want to say, in Italy, he made a song that with just made up words to sound like an American song, put it to an American beat, and it was like a number 1 fucking hit in Italy.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
No, and he did shit like what we do, you know, that old Steve Martin line. Whenever you're in, you're in France, you do that thing, you adopt a French accent. Hey, I would like to go to the hotel, please. You know, and so that's what this guy did. He just strung a whole bunch of sounds together that sounded American, and it became a big, big hit. So
why not?
Why not? So speaking of stringing things together, we're not going to do any of that today. We're actually going to make sense. We are not going to make up gibberish. We have someone here with a very serious problem, Rob, and wants our help. So we're going to shift into serious mode here. Rob, Gemini comes to us with some serious issues. Tell us about Gemini, Rob.
All right, Sven, I would be glad to. Gemini wrote in and said, in the last 2 years, I've gone through a divorce, lost my home, and watched my parents take my ex's side. They excused or blamed me for everything he did, saying I was too nagging or not a good enough wife. I've always known my mom was toxic, and I've tried to keep her from tearing me down, but I still hear her voice in my head. Now my parents are being kind again, inviting me to spend time with them like nothing happened. I've been trying to keep some distance, but my kids love their grandparents. When I don't show up, my parents call my ex and invite him to family events. It feels like I'm either keeping the peace for my kids or protecting myself, but I can't do both. On top of that, the dogs my ex was supposed to take care of have all died, and my grandfather passed away too. It's been a lot of grief all at once. I recently started seeing someone who was kind and supportive. He encouraged me to get counseling, saying I didn't have to carry everything alone. But I still found myself thinking, how could he want someone like me? That fear got so loud, I told him I needed space. I want to work through the sadness, the guilt, and the confusion so I can stop pushing people away and figure out how to live in a way that actually feels like mine. By the way, I've worked through your book once, and I'm on chapter 30 for the second time. This time I'm also using your workbook, and it's helped me tremendously.
Gemini, welcome to the show.
Hello. Good to be here.
It's great to have you here. Now my parents are being kind again. Formerly, they were excusing or blaming you for everything he did. They would take his side. They'd tell me I was too nagging or not a good enough wife. Now they're being kind again, inviting me to spend time with them like nothing happened. And then I'll agree, and because, I want my kids to be with their grandparents. My parents are being kind again, and they're inviting my ex to family events. How are those two things linked?
I guess they're just really,
What do they want?
they want their perfect little family. They want me to be there. So their other two kids don't really want to be around. And I've always been the one that's shown up to everything. And
Oh, their other two kids, your siblings, don't want to be around mom and dad.
so I've always kind of filled that void. I've always been the one that showed up and took care of them, brought them what they needed. When my mom had surgery, I was there to help her make her bed and take care of her food when no one else would.
All right. And what is the reason your siblings no longer want to be around mom and dad?
It varies depending on the day. My parents want everything to be exactly how they want it. And if you don't go along with it, they threaten you. They threaten to cut you off. It just ends up being a big fight.
I
So
see.
I've kind of just gone along.
Right.
forever.
For fear of being cut off, for the fear of them, their wrath.
It wasn't just that, but I think for me, it was like you've said before on your podcast and your books, I want a good relationship with my parents. I want my mom to love me. I want to be able to go and tell her I just broke up with the band that I thought was perfect, but I don't want to go to her because she's the one trying to force me to get back with my ex, who also doesn't want me anymore.
And that's where I was going. She's the one trying to force you to get back with her ex. It's not just she wants her perfect little family when you all come over and I can pretend to have this wonderful family. The perfect little family she wants is you and your ex back together. That's the link between her being nice to you and, inviting the ex over. She's trying to make you guys get back together. And he doesn't, and then you said, but he doesn't want me.
I don't want him either. That's fine.
But you didn't say that initially.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? That you didn't say that. Your initial, you could have chosen three things to say. You could have said, I don't want him. You could have said, he doesn't want me. Or you could have said, we don't want each other. You picked, he doesn't want me. Why was that only to be corrected later? Well, I don't want him either. Why was that the first thing out of your mouth?
Since I wrote that letter to you, I had actually reached out to the ex-boyfriend, not my ex-husband, my ex-boyfriend, to ask if he wanted to start talking again, and he told me no. So I've been feeling a lot of rejection and just generally unwanted. So I guess that's...
And so then your brain goes to, well, gee, what about if I went back to the ex-husband, but he doesn't want me? Is that what we're talking about?
So, I don't have any feelings for him and I don't want to go back, but there's just that whole rejection. I mean, he didn't want me our whole marriage, which is why I left. He called me too needy if I asked for more than one date every 2 months and told me to leave him alone. And I was just a pain. I would tell him I felt like I was his concubine. I was there to make him look good in front of his friends and put out when he felt like it. So,
wow.
And if I wanted anything, I was told I was just too much.
And what was the earliest in the relationship that you got negative messaging from this person that became your husband and you had kids and dogs with? What was the earliest you...
There were definitely signs when we, towards the end of, before we got married, I don't know, the last 2 years that we were dating, he would do stupid little things, but I just chalked it up to we're stressed because it's the end of college and, we're kids being dumb and partying. And
what
so
was
I let a lot of stuff slide.
I let a lot of stuff ride.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we do that, unfortunately. We excuse it. And what if there was a fear driving that behavior that caused you to excuse you being, as you say it, then the way you even say it now, he did a lot of stupid stuff. You didn't say he did a lot of shit that was hurtful. You sort of give it a nice little sort of veneer and you say, it was stupid. You don't say he fucking hurt me. Why do you think you gloss it that way?
I think I do that with everything. I tend to do that whenever I get hurt.
Why do you do that?
I have always downplayed, my sister would hit me or something and my dad would get mad at her and I would tell her, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. I've just always done that.
And why do you do it? Why do you think you've been doing it your whole life?
I've been taught I'm not as important as everybody else.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And so you say, oh, it was just stupid and I'm sure he didn't mean it. And, basically implying I deserved it or, I don't get to stand up for it. I don't get to say something hurt me. My feelings don't matter. Right. And so you said you saw signs that he was being a, fuck stick. I'm sure that was your word. That he, before marriage, what was the earliest thing you remember that didn't feel good, where it wasn't just a one-off? What was the earliest in your relationship with him?
I don't remember which came first, but there was like one time I had called him because I had a cold and like it was a bad cold. So I gave him a call. I was like, hey, can you pick me up some cold medicine? I don't even want to get in the car right now. And he was like, yeah, sure. I'm on my way. And it was 2 hours or more later, he shows up at my door completely tanked because he decided to stay and have shots with his roommates before picking up some cough syrup. And I opened the door to my house and he collapsed, like passed out drunk. So I had to friggin' take care of him while I was sick.
Wow.
Because he couldn't bring me cold medicine.
And just for clarity's sake, couldn't bring me cold medicine. That's not the right verb, is it? It wasn't couldn't.
Didn't feel like it.
Didn't want to. And the underlying message being conveyed to you is what?
I don't matter.
That's exactly it. And you stayed. And why did you stay when someone was conveying that message to you?
Because he was tall, dark, and handsome, and my parents loved him.
There you go. There you go. And my parents loved him. Just out of curiosity, how far into the relationship were you when that happened?
It was probably about a year and a half.
Okay.
The first year, everything was peaches. It was golden.
And then it began to change. And because, and I'm not dogging the victim here, I'm trying to protect you, but because you didn't shut it down or call it out and not back down, it gave it permission. And is it reasonable to assume from that moment forward, the problem metastasized?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Which was a bigger issue in overlooking that incident? Tall, dark, and handsome, and you were smitten, and gosh, he likes me, or mom and dad liked him?
Probably mom and dad liked him. Absolutely, yeah.
And what did it get you by having someone that mom and dad approved of? What did that get you that you hadn't gotten in your lifetime or gotten so little of?
Honestly, nothing really changed, so.
And yet you wanted their approval.
Yeah.
And so why was your approval of him so important if nothing really changed?
I don't know. I've just always wanted them to like me.
Right. So that's what you were shooting for.
Mm-hmm. And all of my journaling, I have discovered that, they never really liked me. And I kept trying and trying and trying, and it was never enough, never good enough.
And what percent are you still trying to get them to like you?
Probably 60, 70. I try to say it's because of my kids and like I want to be there for my kids, but deep down, I don't want to make my mom sad by not coming when she calls.
So her feelings are more important than your feelings.
Yeah.
60 to 70%, you still want them to like you. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And that's a very normal thing. How old are you?
42.
What's the price that you're paying by wanting them to like you so badly? What is the price that it's costing you?
I have no idea what I like or who I am, or I can try to look and see, okay, what are my dreams? What is my purpose? All the things that you write in your book, and I've written, and I feel completely lost.
Right.
I don't know who I am or what's my voice anymore.
That's right. Because what's on top of it still is mom's voice and dad's voice. Was dad, but in a different way, perhaps dad, was dad openly critical of you like mom? Is dad that way?
No, growing up, I always thought of my dad as my hero.
Because
my mom was always like.
Why was dad the hero?
Because when he came home, he played with me, he cuddled with me. It was, you're my princess, I love you. Whenever he finally got into money, he would bring me gifts and doted on me like nobody else. And then, yeah, he was my hero, man.
And did that stop?
As I got older, I always think about it as like once I hit puberty and I started turning into a girl, more than just like, I feel like he treated us like our little boys. We always played out in the mud and played with cars and worked cattle and stuff. And then like I started turning into a girl, and it was like, I don't know how to talk to you anymore. He was still like, I love you, but stay over there, kind of.
That's interesting because one of the things you said is he played with me, cuddled me, doted on me. So if he perceived you as a little boy, and I don't mean it in some sick way, I just mean that he cuddled with you. So he was okay cuddling with his little boy, doting on his little boy. That's just an interesting thing to say. Of then when I turned into a girl, so to speak, then he no longer doted or cuddled or saw me as a girl or something. That's just really interesting.
I don't know. That's like, it just feels like that's about the time everything changed, you know? Well, that, and then my parents went through all of their own nonsense. And
now that would be an explanation. Right. You don't cuddle with your daughter, and then when she starts becoming a young girl, and stop seeing her as a girl. If you're cuddling with a child, you know, I mean, I was a freak. I cuddled with both my kids, the son and my daughter. And I don't know, that was just interesting. But then they were going through their own stuff. So he wasn't as forthcoming with love and softness and kindness and gentleness, likely because of the shit going on in his own life.
They both went off the rails.
Oh, they went off the rails. Gotcha. And in what way, above all else, did they go off the rails?
One of the first memories I have after they said they were going to get separated, they asked me and my sister to decide which parent we wanted to stay with, which I still think is the most screwed up thing I've ever sat through. Like, I have to pick which parent. Okay. But then, like, my sister went to stay with my dad, and I went to stay with my mom, and my dad, like, became a raging alcoholic, would take my 17-year-old, 18-year-old sister out partying. They would drink bottles together. She'd stay up all night doing drugs with her friends in the living room. And then my mom was severely depressed on antidepressants. She would go off and just start, like, hitting me with whatever was closest. She would ask me to do chores, and if I didn't do them right, she would beat me with hangers and shoes. And then I was the one who answered the phone when she was threatening to commit suicide. So I ran home to be there with her and make sure she was fine. And then, you know, the next day, I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened.
I see. And, you know, it doesn't surprise me that you've been the one showing up for your parents as an adult. Given all that treatment, for a lot of people, you'd think, oh, man, you'd never want to be around them and you'd push them away. No, very often it's the one who got the least love that most still wants it as an adult. So that doesn't surprise me. I'm curious about one little thing. What % was mom a good parent and what % was mom a bad parent?
I think she was maybe 80% bad.
And what was the good part?
Before we moved from the first home that I remember, and she would sit and we'd go fishing together, and she would play in the garden with us. She's the one that showed me how to sew and how to garden and how to cook. And it's like years later, she doesn't remember. Yeah.
You have warm memories, gardening, sewing, cooking. And that was up to what age?
Like 9 or so, I think.
So it was before the Troubles.
Oh, yeah.
I gotcha. So prior to the Troubles, you had a good relationship to some degree, and yet you always wanted them to like me. Did the wanting them to like you, that sort of yearning, the fact that that's even a thought in your head implies that I didn't feel liked?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And what's the earliest of not feeling liked by your parents that you can recall?
So we had to live with my grandparents for a little while, and I think I was in 2nd grade. And I remember thinking to myself that my parents would like me if I had been a boy. Because
how did you get that? How did you get that message?
So my sister she was the golden child everybody loved. Even now, she's been in rehab and gone to jail, and they all still think that she just walks on water. And then when I was 7, they had my baby brother, and then everybody doted on him. And so I was sort of in the middle. It was like, oh, I was their accident extra child. And then the fact that they waited so long to have my brother after me, I felt like that kind of reinforced that. Like, they were so disappointed in me that they waited 7 years to have another kid.
Disappointed because you weren't a boy.
Because I wasn't a boy. My mom loved to basically call me weak, tell me I was so weak, you're so sensitive. I was not as strong as my sister. I couldn't lift the hay bales like my sister. I couldn't round up the cattle like my sister. I just wasn't big and tough, and which is funny because any of my friends are like, you're the most boyish girl I know.
And what was the earliest you got those messages from your mom? Weak, sensitive, can't load hay and cattle and shit.
I mean, I guess it's like 8 or 9 with that.
Is that when it started?
I don't remember the exact age.
Well, do your best here, because you're basically saying she went from being fucking, the Blessed Virgin herself to now she's a fucking asshole. Doesn't that seem like a pretty hard shift? And she waited. No, but you even said they waited several years before they had my brother because she was so disappointed. They were so disappointed, which implies she was disappointed in you long before 9. Am I off?
No. I know that whenever we would go and like work on the cattle together, my mom always made me feel like I was just little and in the way. And I don't remember at what age that was, but I was just like, just move out of the way.
Do your best. Find a marker in your memory as best you can. Find a marker that might help us better pinpoint an age, because you've already basically said they waited longer because they were so disappointed. And you didn't say they were disappointed they didn't have a boy. You said they were so disappointed in me.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it had to be about 7 years old. I'm trying to think of like when we lived where.
That's what I was looking for, was 7 years old.
7 or so.
But the truth is, if they were disappointed that I wasn't a boy, that implies if you're 41, we all know that pregnancy tests existed by the time you came around for sure. Doctors could test and know the gender of a child. Did your parents, to the best of your knowledge, know your gender before you were born?
I think so.
So then it's quite possible from the very time you were the size of roughly the tip of my pen, or let's say half of the cap of my pen, you were a goddamn disappointment. Less than the size of my pen, potentially the size of the tip of my pen. Ever since they've known you, you've been a goddamn disappointment.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that, yeah.
And yet, you hadn't done anything wrong that would even justify that. Not like a child could, but you're the size of a fucking pen. And they already kind of didn't want you.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes it worse is some people don't want a child. They think their childbearing years are done, or they think, hey, we've had 3, that's enough. Some people then are blessed with that 4th child, or they get pregnant or whatever, and they say, well, it wasn't expected, but fuck, this is great. This is wonderful. You're our caboose. This is, what a blessing from God or whatever. They could have done that. They could have put you up for adoption to someone who would actually be kind. No. They chose to raise you with wrath. You're weak. You're sensitive. You're not as good as your sister at hay, at cattle, etc., etc. And then later, when mom's own shit got even worse, because you had been a disappointment from the day they knew, potentially, or when you were still in utero, you were a fucking disappointment. And she was going to remind you of that. And then when it got worse, then she was happy to take out her anger physically on a child. If you saw someone at the grocery store hitting a child, let's just say with a Coke bottle, what would you do?
I'd like to think I'd try and stop him.
Sure. Or at least call the police or film it so that you had evidence or whatever. Or shout, hey, fucker, stop, whatever, right? Because it's bad, right? It's terrible. And yet that's precisely what your mother did to you. Again and again and again with whatever was handy, a hanger, or, mommy dearest, or a fucking bottle of water, or, whatever. Yeah. It's harder to justify that 20% good, though. Much more to come right after this short break.
So I was telling a buddy of mine how he seems happier. He told me about the book that changed his life. So I bit. I went to the Badass Counseling website and downloaded There's a Hole in My Love Cup audiobook. I started listening to it on my commute home from work, and holy cow, it was a Louisville Slugger to the face. I literally sat in my car, in the driveway, night after night, listening through to the end of a chapter or doing the journaling exercises. My wife started to see changes. I started to change a lot. My default response stopped always being anger. Now I manage a team of salespeople, and I changed as a leader. I was listening more, not always just reacting. When their numbers started going up seemingly out of nowhere, I knew what the reason was. There's a Hole in My Love Cup is now required listening for any person on my sales team or working for me, and I gladly buy it for them. You gotta listen to this book.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back with Gemini, who writes, I've tried to keep Mom from tearing me down, but I still hear her voice in my head. If you were to distill down to one sentence what Mom's voice has been pounding away at you for most of your life with, what is that sentence that you still hear in your head?
So you're not good enough.
And that's more or less the message you've been getting your entire life. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I see. And is it reasonable to assume then that your children, which are, how old are your children?
7, 11, and 14.
7, 11, and 14. Great ages. Is it safe to assume then with your 7-year-old, as you did with your 11 and your 14-year-old, that you are very deliberate about teaching them that they're not good enough as well?
No, I really hope not.
I hope not. Because why?
Because they're magical.
They are. And because what's the effect of telling a child they're not, and teaching a child either explicitly or implicitly they're not good enough? What's the long-term effect of that?
I have said yes to most everything.
Right.
Yes to everybody all the time.
Right. Because why?
Just want someone to think I'm worthy. I'm good enough for them.
That's right. Because deep down inside, you believe you're not worthy. You're not good enough for them. That because as Mom's voice repeatedly is telling you inside yourself. Right. And so when you have someone come along and say, hey, man, I think you're great. Get some counseling. You don't have to carry this weight alone. You still find yourself thinking, how could he want someone like me? Someone who is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the fear got so loud. The fear of what? In one sentence.
I thought he was going to leave me.
There it is. Good job. The fear that he's going to leave me. That I needed space. So I'm going to leave him before he leaves me first, because that would be too painful. This is painful, but it's less painful than if he saw the real me and then confirmed what I've always believed my whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. What are you feeling right now, Gemini? Give me a feeling word.
Lonely.
Lonely. Our listeners can't see it, but I see the tears. What's the loneliest part about being Gemini?
I've tried really hard not to let anybody see my sadness, my sad side.
Why?
Because then they won't want me. My mom used to tell me I was too depressing all the time, so I stopped being depressing. So now when I'm hurting the most, I hide.
And if you're getting messages growing up that you're weak and sensitive and everything else that's wrong with you, you're not just going to hide your sad side. You're going to, is it reasonable to say, well, the only thing you're going to show is just toughness and a shell and armor, and you're not going to really show your real, let me ask you, what percent in your childhood did you actually show your real self?
0.
0.
Never.
Exactly. Because if you had shown your real self, what would happen?
When I did, I would get made fun of.
But by whom?
My mom and my sister mostly.
So your mom was doing it and thus giving permission to your sister to do it.
Mhm.
You were the family shit stick. You were Cinderella. You were the one that got picked on and it was fine and it was okay.
Yeah.
And just so we're clear, Dad didn't protect you.
My dad was working out of town a lot.
Ah, there's a good reason.
Mhm.
And in those, yeah, okay, I'm glad you saw that. You said the troubles started when you were what age?
My parents' troubles?
Yeah.
Um,
When Dad
I was in middle
stopped
school.
playing, cuddling, and doting.
Like middle school.
Middle school. And did you just say high school is when Mom and Dad's trouble started, or middle school?
Oh, no, middle school.
Middle school. So it all started at middle school. Prior to middle school, you had already been being criticized and put down and shit by your mom, right? Why wasn't he protecting you then?
He worked a lot.
Worked
all
a
the
lot.
time.
Did your father know how your mother treated you?
I don't think so.
So she never did it in front of him.
No.
Your sister never did it in front of him.
No, everybody can't. It was the whole perfect nuclear family. When Dad comes home, you sit quietly and eat your food, and we're a happy family.
Interesting. And by them doing that, in retrospect, what does that tell us about Mom's behavior?
That she knows she was going off.
She knew that she was wrong.
Mhm.
She knew, and your sister knew, that what they were doing was wrong. What that means then is they had consciousness of their actions. It wasn't just something that was happening. They literally turned it on and turned it off. Furthermore, she treated your sister differently from you. So she would turn niceness and kindness and gentleness on with your sister, off with you. So that means she was choosing, both with regard to your dad and both with regard to how she treated your sister. She was choosing how to treat you. She was choosing to treat you poorly, and she had consciousness of that treatment being bad treatment that she would get in trouble for with your father. Someone choosing to hurt someone, specifically a child. We call that malice. Wasn't an accident. It wasn't she just failed as a parent. No, she didn't fail. She deliberately tried to do harm to a child, you. And you've been wanting that confirmation of your worth your entire life because she's fundamentally telling you, you are less than the cattle. I would treat the cattle better than I would treat you.
Mhm.
Right. Just out of curiosity, then. And did the child believe that she deserved it?
Yes, absolutely.
What % do you believe today that you deserve it?
I'd like to say I don't, but I think there's still like a good 60% of me believes that I actually do.
Right. A good 60% believes that I still believes that I do deserve it, which by that thinking implies that children can deserve that.
Mhm.
Which of your children would be most justified treating like that because they deserve it? Which one? That 14-year-old, that 11-year-old, or that little 7-year-old? The 7-year-old's probably the little fucker, right? That's probably the one that deserves it, right? No, it's that middle one. Which one is it? Which one is the one that deserves it?
None of them. Obviously.
Why don't they deserve it? And you even said obviously. Why don't they deserve it?
Because they're just kids.
They're just kids. Were you just a kid?
Yes, I was.
Wondering what % was Dad a good parent and what % was Dad a bad parent? On the whole, from 0 to 20, or whatever time frame you put Mom's 20% good and 80% bad in that same time frame, what % was Dad a good parent and what % was Dad a bad parent?
I think my dad was about 80% a good parent.
80% good. Even though at what age was it when he stopped doting on you and playing with you and cuddling you and expressed to you basically through his actions and his pushing you away that I don't like you because you're not a boy. What age was that?
I was middle school.
So give me an age.
12, 13.
12. So at 12 years old. So then we know from 12 to 20, if we're calling this the first 20 years of your life, that he was 80% a good parent. We know for 8 of those years, nearly half of those years, he did not like you. He rejected you. And yet, somehow, what he did in the first 12 years was so profound that it overweighed 8 years of rejection. I'm really curious about something. I don't know if I've ever even asked anybody this question before. Which would be worse in your eyes? To be told your entire life by your father that you're a disappointment, I don't like you, and don't be near me? Or to have 12 years of being taught you're good and I think you're great and I want to cuddle you and play with you, and then being pushed away and rejected for no apparent reason for the next 8 years and presumably subsequently after that? Which is worse, to have it and then have it stripped from you for nothing you've done, or to never have it at all? If you were, for you personally, which would be worse or is worse?
Definitely having it taken.
Having it taken. Why? Help us understand. I've not been through that. Help us understand why that for you is worse.
I just wonder what I did. What did I do to make them all hate me so much?
To make them what?
All hate me so much.
And what did you do?
I'm trying to figure out.
What did you do? Because you were 12. You have an 11-year-old right now. What could that 11-year-old do that could cause you to hate them so much, to hate that 11-year-old so much? What could you do?
Nothing. I like that little weirdo.
Exactly. Is it possible for an 11-year-old to be unlovable, innately unlovable?
No.
What did you do to cause them to hate you so much?
I don't know. I've always just sort of excused it because that's when they started going after each other.
So you've excused it because you didn't want to create problems and so on and so forth?
Pretty much.
Okay.
It's not my fault they hate me. They just hate everybody right now. So.
What did that 12-year-old do to make them hate you so much?
Nothing.
Why was the nothing so hard for you to say when it was so easy for you to say with regard to your 11-year-old?
Because I think about what a troublemaker I was.
And that would justify a parent hating a child. If your 11-year-old were a troublemaker, would you hate your child? Would you push them away or... Okay. What did you do to make them hate you so much?
Nothing.
And you rolled your eyes when you said that a little bit. Because why?
Because I
what do you feel?
like I can't believe it.
Right. And maybe you can't right now. And that's okay if you can't believe it. But the question is it true? What did you fucking do to cause them to hate you so much, to deserve that treatment? What did you do? Is it even possible to do something to cause your own parents to hate you?
No.
That's exactly right. To want to punish you for being, doing something bad, starting the barn on fire, that's one thing. But to hate the child? Or to teach them that they're weak and depressed all the time and sensitive and hay and cattle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, that's just them being fuckers. Do you want to know one of the things I love the most about my girlfriend?
What?
No exaggeration. We'll be walking down the street in Manhattan and she'll see a butterfly there on the sidewalk that maybe had died, or a dragonfly in our backyard. And she'll have to stop and pick it up and look at it. And she'll actually start to cry a little bit sometimes.
I love your girlfriend.
Not as much as I do. Or she'll have her own little mini funeral.
I do that stuff too.
And to me, what I love about that is it's just so pure. And that she can feel something that sensitively and yet she built an $80 million company in Manhattan, of which she was president and primary shareholder from day one. So it's not soft or hard. It's both. She recognizes the value in both. She's not afraid of the soft, but you've been taught a lie that being sad or being depressed, as your mom called it, that normal emotions are bad and you're flawed and you're fucked up. When your 14-year-old is sad, do you say, quit being a depressed little fuck?
No.
No. The reason you can't find yourself, the reason you push away ones you want to be loved by, you wanted to be loved by your ex. The reason you do it is because you've been taught that you're shit. It's as if someone had taught your 14-year-old they're just fucking worthless, and your 14-year-old believes it. Why wouldn't they? They were taught it by their very own parent. If mom and dad say it, if mom says it, and then later dad confirms it by pushing me away, it must be true. And yet it was never true. You said it again and again today. There's nothing a child could do. There was never a goddamn thing wrong with you. And the big mistake of your life is there still isn't, but you believe there is. You were taught a lie by people who were not good parents. Your dad was not 80% a good parent. No fucking way. You think your dad didn't know that your mom, after the fight, after she'd gone off the rails, do you think he thought that she was just an asshole to him? Did he know that she was hitting you?
I don't think they cared. I mean, to this day, they don't care about anything that's not helping them look good in some way.
Sort of answered your own question then on what kind of parent he was. I don't think they cared. In other words, I asked you about back then. I don't think he cared, right? So even if he had been some wonderful, parent prior to age 12, he turned into a fucking monster. He doesn't even care that his child's being beaten, the fucking hanger or whatever she could get her hands on. There's no definition of good parenting that fits under. And the problem is that you feel all these feelings of, wanting their acceptance, wanting them to like you, or at least stop hating you. You actually said, I want to work through the sadness, the guilt, and the confusion so I can stop pushing people away and figure out how to live in a way that actually feels like mine. I want to work through the sadness, guilt, and confusion. What do you feel guilty about? What have you done that you feel guilty about?
First is I'm the one that left my ex, and he made me feel like shit I was on the floor of the bathroom one night crying and wondering the least painful way to kill myself. And I looked in the mirror and decided that I was going to just start living for me and my kids. And that was 4 years before I left, I think. And when I finally, and the only reason I stayed is for one, my parents told me that nobody else would ever want me, that it was all my fault, that everybody in the house was miserable because of me. So I stayed thinking, it's my fault and I need to fix it. And then I stayed because I didn't want to hurt my kids. And then I thought, I'm 40, I'm used up, I've had 3 kids, nobody else is going to want me, so I should just stay here and tough it out. And so it took me another couple years before I finally actually met the guy that I started seeing. But he was like, you deserve better than this. Like, we never cheated or anything, but it was just like, he would see me from the outside and be like, you should not be this miserable. You
didn't believe him, did you?
No. It took a long time before I finally was like, I can't take this anymore.
Right. And so you finally, by you finally ending the relationship, even knowing your parents would be against it, and even though they're saying it's all your fault, and even though your husband was still being a fuck and all this stuff, you did it because why? In one sentence, what did it boil down to?
Hoped I could be happy.
Hoped I could be happy. Since when does your fucking happiness matter?
Never.
But it did. But it did.
I could see myself doing the same thing that my mom used to do to me right before my parents separated.
What's
where
that?
She would go off and yell at me and have massive screaming matches. I was doing the same thing with my oldest, and I was like, I'm miserable and I'm doing this to him. That's terrible. I can't do this to him.
So your pain had to get so bad before you realized, and the pain of holy shit, seeing what I'm becoming. I'm becoming like my mother, and I'm doing it to my own child who I claim to love. It had to get so bad that in a way, I don't want to be this person. This is not who I am. I don't want to do this. So you heard your own voice of who you don't want to be, of I do want to be happy. I do. So for the first time in your life, really, in any significant way, you acted for you.
Yeah.
Do you see how that's a victory, even though it may not have felt like one? Do you?
I do. Yeah, I do.
How is it a victory in one sentence? Give it to me.
It just took strength to follow what I needed.
That's right. And you feel guilty for leaving your ex. Why?
Because I hurt my kids.
Yeah.
I stayed as long as I did just because I didn't want to hurt them.
And it will hurt them long term or short term. Would it have been worse if you had stayed?
Absolutely.
Because
I was so angry that I was taking it out on them.
right. Not only that, they're growing up in an unloving home, having this normalized for them, it becoming their definition of love, etc. And so then what really do you have to feel guilty for?
Nothing. I guess.
Because
and I'm the one who takes them to therapy and sits there and talks about feelings and holds them and makes sure they have a safe place to talk about it.
Is that good parenting?
I hope so.
Yeah, it is. Just and on that guilt thing, what is it you most feel guilty for with regard to your parents?
They've used guilt as their tactic my whole life. If they wanted me to go somewhere, your grandma's going to die if you don't come. And then, like if I don't want to go visit them, well, it's your father's birthday and it's super important. And we don't know if we're ever going to see these people again. Or
yeah. And do you feel guilty to your parents for divorcing your ex?
Yes.
So it's not just guilt over hurting my kids, which now here's a real come to fucking Jesus question.
Mm-hmm.
Which do you feel more guilt over when it comes to the divorce? Hurting, disappointing mom and dad, or hurting your kids?
I'm hurting my kids, definitely.
What percent that and what percent mom and dad? Be honest, motherfucker.
Well, so I don't know. I guess there's like 20% to my parents because they used my guilt over my kids to blame me and make me feel like shit after I left. It's like, do you see what you're doing to your family? Do you see what you're doing to your children? You're going to wreck them. You're going to destroy their lives.
They are a piece of work. Do you believe anything that they've said to you about you? Do you believe it? Or let me ask a different question. What percent of it is actually true? Of all the shit they've said to you in your life, what percent of it is actually true?
I think I know in my head it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
But
so none of it. Okay. Then what is your greatest fear in admitting that they're lying, there was never anything wrong with you, and that they're fucking assholes? What is the fear that if I admit the truth and look at the truth and let it be for what it is, what is the fear? What is the fear in assessing, blaming, calling it out, whatever you want to call it, that they've done all this shit and that there wasn't anything fucking wrong with me? And I'm a good person and I'm a good mom and I was a good wife. What is the fear? I don't need you to ever address the living, breathing people of mom and dad. I mean, just for yourself, just for us, just right now or in your own life. To yourself, what is the fear in just looking at mom and dad for who they really are and saying to yourself, they just like, we're fucked and they're still fucked and they've hurt me so much. There was nothing wrong with me. They were the goddamn problem. What is the fear that keeps you from doing that? Because it sure as fuck sounds like you're still protecting them or still wanting something from them or still fearful of them not wanting you, all this stuff. And so as a result, you're protecting them saying, well, gee, they weren't that bad or it wasn't as bad as I thought or, I'm the problem. I'm the problem. What is the fear that you have in saying, I wasn't the problem and I'm still not the problem and I never was the problem? It was fucking them. What's the fear in looking at the truth and admitting the truth?
I don't know why I'm afraid, but I want to like, if I can finally get that in my head, that I'll just walk away and not have to deal with their bullshit anymore. But I'm afraid that then they won't have their grandkids and I'll feel guilty. It just goes around and round.
And if they don't have their grandkids, you said. Interesting, you didn't say my kids wouldn't have their grandparents. They wouldn't have their grandkids. And if they didn't have their grandkids, why is that bad? Why do you fear them not getting their grandparents or grandkids?
I still don't want to hurt them.
You still don't want to what?
Hurt them.
Why? Because you want what? You fear what?
I feel like I still owe them. Like,
what do you... Okay, I feel like I still owe them. And what precisely do you owe them for?
Dad has helped me out with money a lot. I'm the executor of their estate, and so he's constantly telling me how much he has and what we owe him. And
what we owe him? This
them.
Guy's a fucking asshole. He's a dick. I owe him. I'm the executor of his estate, so I'm doing him a goddamn favor, and so I owe him. Your dad's an asshole. Go ahead, what?
They've used their money and their influence. So growing up, my dad would always say things like, you have to have people, you have to rely on people, you can't do anything on your own. But then he was the person in our lives with the most influence and the most money. So if we didn't do what he wanted, he would make sure that we didn't have
total fucking
help.
Okay, so he's a fucking hypocrite. It's just bullshit. The shit coming out of their mouths, it's just bullshit. It's self-serving. It sounds to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Listen, because I only have what information you have given me. Mm-hmm. I'm drawing my own conclusions based on what you've given me. That fundamentally, it's all about them and their best interests, that you exist to serve the king and the queen at the top of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And in your parents' relationship with each other, who has greater power? I'm just curious. What percent of the power does dad have, and what percent of the power does mom have?
I think it's 80% my mom.
And what does your dad most fear that he gives away so much power to your mom?
Oh, that she's going to leave him. And make him look bad.
Oh, image. Leave and image. Okay.
Oh, they're all about image. Oh, yeah, 100%.
All about image. I see. And you're the grand fucking disappointment. And I'm going to tell you how shitty you are. And I'm just going to take my shit out on a fucking kid and hit her and put her down and then perpetuate that right into adulthood. How old are your parents?
67, I think.
67. Right. What do you still want from them?
As much as I hate to admit it, I want them to hold me and be proud of me and tell me I was a good daughter, tell me I've done a good job.
And what happens if you never get it?
Nothing. I just get sad. Just stay sad.
Well, you just said get sad, and then you said stay sad. Those are two different things.
Well, I've been sad for a while, so I guess I've just...
Yeah, but the real question is, are you actually flushing it all out? But more importantly, are you going down to the root of the problem? See, the problem is that you've been believing that you're the problem. That's what they taught you. And that was bullshit from the fucking beginning. There's no fucking way a child is a problem. And they've been just pounding that along, hammering it into you at every point along the way. It was never true. It's still not true. You're pretty, you're smart, you're tough, but you're also sweet and gentle. Oh, you're too depressed, you're too weak. Why is that? It's just bullshit. It's a parent being an asshole, taking something, finding a way to hurt a child. What the fuck? That's just fuckery. That's just bad. And
my mom still goes out of her way to say shitty things to me.
Still goes out of her way to say shitty things to you, and you're still wanting her and him to hold you and be proud of you. And you have a 42-year pattern of behavior that indicates they are never going to do that.
I have been cutting myself out of things when they invite me, and it's just me. No, I'm not going.
Why are you cutting yourself out? Why?
Because I'm tired of them hurting me.
So your feelings matter, you're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is you. That is an affirmation of self. And let me ask you, in all of this whole conversation, either something we've said or something we haven't said, what is the hardest, scariest, ugliest thing for you to admit or to look at in this whole story?
That I've been alone the whole time.
Is that true?
To a degree, I feel like.
Which is harder for you? I've been alone the whole time, or they truly were terrible parents?
I think it's hard for me to admit my dad was.
Well, and it's hard to admit your dad was. Why is it hard to admit dad was a terrible parent?
Because he was the one that made me feel loved of the two of them.
For the first few years, at least 12 years or ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see. And for what percent has dad been from 20 to 42? What percent has dad been a good parent? What percent has dad been a bad parent?
60 bad, 40 okay. I don't know about good, but okay.
And it's hardest to admit that dad was a bad parent. Is it because it's not true or just because you don't want to believe it's true?
Like so many people on your show, I excuse it. I feel like he was really trying. He did start going into his own therapy and stuff, and like he would try to reach out, and then it would just sort of.
Why did he stop trying? You're 12 years old. Why did he stop trying?
Oh no, when I was older, he started going to therapy. Sorry.
No, I meant why did he stop trying to get close to you and be kind to you when you're 12 years old? So you said, "Oh, I became more of a girl." In other words, you're blaming the girl.
When I was in middle school is when I started acting out and like I started voicing my own opinion and going
again. You're blaming the child.
I know. Uh-huh.
If the parent gives a shit, again, you weren't raised in the fucking 1940s, for fuck's sake. You're 42. You're a fucking kid still. And it's just like, and I don't mean to be an asshole, but it's not like you were raised in fucking, post-war America, for Christ's sake. It's just like, if he was such a great parent, why did he give up on you? Why did he just turn his back on you?
He didn't think I was worth the time. He was busy worrying about himself.
So he went through some huge transformation that, oh, you're my girl, and all of a sudden you're not worth my fucking time. And you think that's because of you? That's dad being a fucking asshole. And if he was capable of being that much of a fucking asshole when you're 12, what, did he become a whole new person?
Yeah.
Right. Turned his back on you. He rejected you. He fundamentally said, I know you. I've known you for 12 years. Now I don't like you. It's almost worse because you were open. You were yourself with him, and then he shuts you down. Mom was, wow. The truth is, with regard to relationships, how do you work through the sadness, the guilt, the confusion, and stop pushing people away and figure out how to live in a way that actually feels like mine? That was your want. It's down here. The problem started down here in your past at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, in there. That's when the messages were being printed. Your parents didn't become whole new people. The fact that they could become such fuckers when you were 12, so easily turn on the child, that wasn't something new. And we know that you were a disappointment before that, even for your mom. So this wasn't some new fucking thing. And the bottom line is this. I have to ask you this. What percent of the truth do you want in your life now?
All of it.
Okay. Then that depends on you. You said you've read the book. You're reading it again.
I finished it the second time and the whole thing.
Okay. Now, you have to begin to start journaling now and writing letters that you don't send on. The first question I would tell you to start with is, what have I been hiding from? What are the three main truths I have been hiding from because I have not wanted to look at them? I've not wanted to admit them. I've not wanted to see them. What are the truths? It means it has to be true. So it may be with dad, maybe with mom, because I believe you're still protecting them. You're not wanting to look at the shit because you're still wanting them to confirm your worth. You're still wanting them to hold you and be proud of you, and they're not going to. And by you continuing to protect them, you're fundamentally continuing to perpetuate the myth that that child was the problem. I was bad. I am still bad. I am still flawed. The child was flawed. I'm flawed. I'm fucked. I'm unlovable. And it's all bullshit. The longer you continue to believe the myth, I am unlovable, You're saying it not just to you now. You're saying it to that little girl. You're looking that little girl in the face, and you're choosing to protect the parent over that child. Why? Because you still want the payoff. But it's not money. You're whoring yourself out. You're whoring out that little girl. You're saying, fuck you. I don't care about you. I still want the payoff. I still want them to cuddle me. I still want them to be nice to me. I still want to get those words. So I'm going to turn my back on the little girl. I'm going to let that little girl and the 17-year-old version and the 29-year-old version and the 37-year-old version, I'm going to let them keep believing that they're the problem, which is bullshit. They aren't. They never were. And you're not the problem now. But I'm willing to keep believing it because I want to protect them, because then I have a chance of getting their fucking approval and kindness. What are you feeling right now? Be honest. Give me a feeling word or two.
Scared.
That's one, and give me one more.
And hopeful.
Hopeful. What is the single scariest part?
Not knowing what's going to come next.
What does that mean? What? Like what?
So I am currently between jobs, and I'm living off of my settlement and trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do next. And it's a scary thought, and I'm refusing to ask for my parents' help in any way, if possible.
Good for you. And it is
feeling alone.
Understood. And you need to be journaling and going into those feelings. Don't try to numb yourself or distract yourself. And it is scary, and it is alone. And all those things. And you got to keep flushing that shit out. You want to know why? Because you've been taught your whole life that you're fucking worthless, you're no good, and you got to keep flushing them. But the truth is, also, then I have to ask you, and yes, and the truth is, you'll find a way if you are resolute, including if that means scaling back, or whatever, working at whatever, while you're working on your own shit. Why did you say you're hopeful?
Because I'm hoping if I can get all this crap out of me, that I'm going to be this amazing person that other people see when they talk to me. I've had a lot of friends. They're like, "You're fucking amazing. What is your problem?"
Right.
I don't know.
and your problem is that you actually believe you have a problem. You actually believe there's something wrong with you, and there never was. Yeah. And this is where it is. You've got to be willing to put responsibility where responsibility belongs, because you've been placing the responsibility for your shitty feelings and your misery on the girl and not on the parents. And I'm sorry. There was nothing that ever wrong with that little girl.
Thanks.
I want to thank you for coming on the show, Gemini. You've been a great guest, and this has been hard stuff, but the answers, it's all right in there. And it's continuing to look at the truth, and flush out all the feelings and new insights that come with it, including the anger, including the sadness, including the rage, all of it. It doesn't mean you have to stop loving them, because you can have more than one feeling at the same time, but allowing yourself to feel it all and keep flushing it out. And the more you get those messages out of you, those feelings out of you, down there, you do love yourself. You do. It's in there. But it's getting that shit out of you. Rob, any final thoughts?
I'll join the group who thinks that Gemini is a spectacular person. I think she absolutely is, and I understand the depth of the difficulties that she is now facing. I have a great optimism and hope for her. But this was yet another episode where I just had to bury my face in my hands in disbelief of how cruel some people can be. The cruelty is staggering to me. Good for you, Sven, for handling it.
Well, thank you. And it's interesting. Someone says over here on YouTube, as they're tracking with us, someone says, is it possible that your dad turned against you because you didn't choose to be with him?
No, I don't think my dad could feel anything. He was on so many drugs at the time.
Gotcha.
And they got back together, by the way.
Mom and dad did. Right. And someone else says, man, her mom is still throwing rocks in her love cup.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she is.
Right. And I'm allowing it because I'm still wanting something from her, because I need her to confirm my worth, because I refuse to believe that 7-year-old was innocent. That 11-year-old was innocent. That 23-year-old was innocent. That 42-year-old is innocent. You've been a good guest, Gemini. This is hard, heavy stuff, and you had the courage to go there and to allow the tears. I love tears, whether they're mine or somebody else's. It's a sign somebody's fucking real. That's just real.
I've been crying a lot lately.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad. And you said lately, so that's a new thing for you?
I've been in therapy doing EMDR for the last 6 months.
Okay. And that's good. And as long as you're also going in on your own and naming the shit and finding those core beliefs. So that's the real goal.
I leave my EMDR and then I come home and journal about whatever memory and try to push through more.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
I want it out of me.
And you're doing it. And that wanting it out of you and you doing the heavy lifting is a statement of self. It's a statement of belief in self. And I matter. You're doing it. And it's going to reach a point, probably sooner than later, where you start picking up momentum. Why? Because it starts by just turning the wheel. It's like coming up to a stop sign and you didn't shift down your bike and you're, into a lower gear, you're in a high gear. Those first 10, 20, 30, 50 feet, it's slow because you're really grinding. But then you start to pick up some momentum, and that's going to happen because you're doing the work. And I love that you believe in yourself enough to really be doing this. And it's paying off more and more because bit by bit, you're taking back your time. I'm not going to mom and dad's. I'm doing EMDR. And this is all going to really continue to snowball for you. But it all starts with, I was a kid and they were the parents. They had the power and they chose to hurt me. And that's just shitty parenting. I wasn't the problem. I never was.
Thanks.
Thank you for being on the show, Gemini. You've been fantastic. Truly, thank you. You're a lovely, wonderful person. Truly, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, I mean that. And Rob always teases me that, when Casey's on the show, she's usually the one saying that. And Casey is laughing right now because she always says, "Oh man, I love this person," but I do too. I just think you're fantastic. I really do. And so I'm glad to hear that you're finally beginning to take steps to see it for yourself and act on it. So on behalf of my team, KC in the booth and Rob the Rocket, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the show and listening to Gemini's fascinating story and her beginning of her growth. On behalf of my team, have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.